Hello, this is Monica Kemper, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the May 29th, 2026 issue of the Westside News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Volunteers turn out for I Love My Park Day at Hamlin Beach. Friends Group holding open house June 10th. It was a bright, sunny, cool day on May 2nd for the 15th annual I Love My Park Day, sponsored by Parks and Trails New York, in partnership with New York State Parks and the DEC. 100 volunteers helped spruce up Hamlin Beach State Park for the upcoming season by planting trees, cleaning shelters, raking and picking up sticks, mulching gardens, chipping trails, and getting the campground ready. The Hamlin Lions Club provided breakfast and lunch to the volunteers with the support of Mark's Pizzeria in Hamlin. Anyone who loves Hamlin Beach State Park and would like to learn more about the Friends of Hamlin Beach State Park, FOH, BSP, is invited to an open house on Wednesday, June 10th from 5 to 6 p.m. in Shelter 5, Area 4. The FOH BSP is a not-for-profit group that supports the park by beautifying the gardens, maintaining trails, monitoring bird populations, recycling, community outreach, and much more. Visit friendsofhbsp.org for more information about the organization and upcoming events. Brockport Area Veterans Club honors fallen heroes. Story and photos by Christopher R. Martin. In a long-standing annual tradition, members of the Brockport Area Veterans Club gathered on Saturday, May 23, 2026, despite the heavy rains and high winds the community was experiencing. The club leaders made the decision to move the ceremony inside the club. Memorial Day is the day Americans set aside to remember and honor those brave men and women who have met tragic ends while defending our freedom. It is our duty to remember and honor their sacrifices, to pray for their families, and to bow our heads in recognition of their service. Brockport Area Veterans Club Memorial Day Ceremony Program. Local officials from Brockport, Sweden, and Clarkson were in attendance to pay their respects, as well as a group of firefighters from the Brockport Fire District. Local scouts joined the group to present and retire our nation's colors, and trumpeters from the Brockport High School Band played taps as part of the ceremony. Patricia Connors was the mistress of ceremonies and opened the ceremony with welcoming remarks, thanking everyone for braving the weather to honor the veterans. Jack Tangen, commander of American Legion Post No. 379, offered a heartfelt invocation and then presented the annual American Legion ceremony and creed. The red, white, and blue wreath was presented by members of the American Legion Auxiliary No. 379, Anita Malt, president. County Legislator Jackie Smith delivered the keynote address, followed by the benediction by Jack Tangen. Closing remarks from Legion member William Fine were offered following the Scouts retiring the colors. GTC seeks public comment. Draft Public Engagement Plan. The Genesee Transportation Council, GTC, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO, for the Genesee Finger Lakes region, is seeking public review and comment on its draft public engagement plan through June 29, 2026. The public engagement plan outlines how GTC involves the public in transportation planning. It sets expectations for staff, member agencies, and project sponsors and applies across its major work, including the Long Range Transportation Plan, LRTP, Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP, Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, and other required plans and federally funded projects. Public input is essential to ensure the PEP development process is open and accessible to everyone. An electronic version of the draft PEP is available online at http://www.publicinput.com/GTC26PEP, or a printed copy is available upon request. Submit comments online, by mail, email, text, or voicemail. Email contact gtc at gtcmpo.org or call 585-252-1267 to make other arrangements. Visit http://www.publicinput.com/GTC26PEP and type a comment. Leave a voicemail message, 855-925-2801, code 11064. Text engage26 to 73224. Email gtc26pep@publicinput.com. Mail a letter to GTC, 1 South Washington Street, Suite 520, Rochester, New York, 14614. After a 45-day public review period, the GTC Planning Committee will make a final recommendation at its August 13th meeting. The GTC Board will consider and adopt the new PEP at its August 27th meeting. The United States Department of Transportation requires every metropolitan area with a population over 50,000 to have a designated MPO to qualify for receipt of federal highway and transit funds. GTC is the MPO for the 9-county region, which includes Genesee, Livingston, Monroe, Ontario, Orleans, Seneca, Wayne, Wyoming, and Yates counties. Scroll less, connect more. Compere Rochester seeks volunteers. Compere Rochester launched its new Scroll Less, Connect More campaign, encouraging Rochester area residents to trade a few hours of screen time for a more lasting experience. The goal is to build friendships and connections. Compere volunteers spend their time offering support for children, adults, or veterans who are experiencing loneliness. The campaign aims to recruit more passionate volunteers to help reduce the number of people on its waiting list. The message is simple. The average American spends roughly 64 hours each month scrolling social media. Compere Rochester is asking people to swap just 4 of those hours a month for a real-world friendship that can make a meaningful difference. Volunteering can be as simple as grabbing a cup of coffee, going for a walk, or doing something of shared interest. Community perks such as museum discounts are also available to volunteers and their matches. The launch comes as loneliness continues to be recognized as a serious mental health issue. A recent Washington University report on an 8-country study found that nearly half of the young adults surveyed reported loneliness. The study's researchers describe loneliness as a powerful marker of mental health risk. For Compere Rochester, that finding reinforces what the organization sees locally every day. People need real connection, and volunteer friendship can be one practical way to help build it. We want people to understand that making these connections can be simple and effective if it's done with intention, said Sarah Passamonte, CEO of Compere Rochester. For someone who is lonely or isolated, having another person consistently show up can be deeply meaningful. Very often, our volunteers also report that the experience has positively affected them as well, helping them find purpose, friendship, and a stronger sense of community. This campaign is about reminding people that a few hours a month can create something genuine in an increasingly isolated world. Those interested in volunteering can learn more and sign up at https://www.compererochester.org/scroll-less-connect-more. Celebrating the Spirit of America. New book includes story from Holly author. Proud, industrious, generous, and kind. That's the true spirit of Americans. Chicken Soup for the Soul selected the best stories from its library to illustrate what this country is all about, what has always united us. Chicken Soup for the Soul, Celebrating the Spirit of America, includes 101 feel-good stories that take readers on a tour of the country from north to south and from east to west. There's a chapter about honoring our flag and another about America's heroes, our service members and their families. Our tradition of volunteerism and helping those in our communities is the subject of many stories, as well as our can-do attitude and ingenuity. These are stories about our proud new citizens and many stories about quintessential American traditions, from baseball to fireworks to apple pie to Thanksgiving. The moving final chapter includes stories about September 11th, 25 years later, and how we all came together as a nation. Editor-in-Chief and publisher Amy Newmark says we wanted to turn away from the divisiveness out there and focus on the real America, the way it still can be, and the way it is in our daily lives. These patriotic stories for readers of all ages remind us why we love our country. They are our way of celebrating the U.S.'s 250th birthday and honoring what America has always stood for. One of the stories was penned by Holly author David Hall, a retired teacher. Hall has now been published in 30 Chicken Soup for the Soul books. This book features his work, American Boots, which he says is a family story passed down over the years. Besides writing, Hall enjoys reading, gardening, and watching too many reruns of Star Trek. His short stories have been published in several magazines, and he also contributed a humorous story to the recently released Chicken Soup for the Soul, I Can't Stop Laughing. That one, he shares, is about an embarrassing experience he had when he was teaching. Both Chicken Soup for the Soul books can be ordered from Lift Bridge Bookshop in Brockport. Opinion and comments. Churchville Chili parents deserve transparency on bathroom access. Over the past several months, parents in the Churchville Chili community have raised growing concerns regarding student bathroom access after the district acknowledged that student restrooms were temporarily closed due to vandalism and graffiti. While schools absolutely have a responsibility to address vandalism and inappropriate behavior, restricting restroom access impacts every student, including those doing nothing wrong. Graffiti is a behavioral issue. Access to a restroom is a basic need. In seeking answers, I filed a formal Freedom of Information Law FOIL request asking for records related to bathroom closures, restrictions, directives, and policies affecting student restroom access. The district denied the request, claiming the records were exempt intra-agency materials. However, after reviewing the matter, the New York State Committee on Open Government stated that if such records exist, portions may qualify as instructions to staff that affect the public, or final agency policy or determinations, which can be subject to disclosure under New York FOIL law. Despite that guidance, the district still has not clearly answered whether records regarding bathroom restrictions and closures are being withheld or whether they claim no such records exist. This issue goes beyond one parent or one student. It raises larger questions about transparency, communication with families, and how schools balance discipline issues with students' basic needs during the school day. Parents deserve clear answers, and students deserve reasonable access to restroom facilities without confusion, embarrassment, or unnecessary barriers. Jennifer Hovey, Churchville. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Westside News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Thank you for supporting veterans. Thank you to the Brockport community for their support of our Memorial Day poppy donations. We would especially like to thank Walmart Supercenter and Mahan's Discount Liquor and Wine Store for allowing us space in front of their stores for customers to donate. Thank you for supporting our veterans. Bill Fine, Adjutant, American Legion Post number 379. World No Tobacco Day. As World No Tobacco Day approaches on May 31st, this year's theme, Unmasking the Appeal, Countering Nicotine and Tobacco Addiction, couldn't be more relevant. While attention often focuses on cigarettes, many are turning to vapes and e-cigarettes designed to attract new users, especially youth. Around 70% of youths report exposure to e-cigarette marketing, often disguised as innovations that make trying them seem trendy and socially acceptable. Flavors and cute packaging do not make them any less harmful. Big tobacco companies are not concerned with your health. They are here to sell a product. I encourage you to speak out and advocate for stronger regulations on tobacco and nicotine advertising. Now is the time to fight addiction, protect young people, and prevent the industry from continuing its cycle of recruitment through new products. If you're considering quitting smoking or vaping, talk with your doctor and contact the New York State Quit Line at 1-866-697-8487. Visit www.newyorksmokefree.com or text QUIT NOW to 333-888. Teens can sign up for text-based help to quit vaping by visiting www.dropthevape.com. Jessica Dong, undergraduate student, University of Rochester, Public Health Sciences. Crossroads of Caring, supporting the art of caring. Crossroads of Caring, C of C, will hold the Art of Caring dinner on Monday, June 15, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. at Artisan Works, 585 Blossom Road, Rochester. In times of illness and uncertainty, the most profound medicine isn't found in a vial, but in the steady presence of another human being. CFC educates and prepares individuals to provide comfort, presence, and hope in a variety of community settings. This event will highlight the organization's service, celebrate its successes, and share its goals for the future. We believe there is a growing need for individuals and organizations trained in the art of providing compassionate, emotional, and spiritual care to persons experiencing illness or other life challenges. Crossroads of Caring provides that training and support. This event is about bringing the community together to raise awareness about the artful work of spiritual caregiving, says Mary Ann Brody, Executive Director. Crossroads of Caring, C of C, is a Rochester-based center for spiritual care and formation and education dedicated to supporting community spiritual health. As a nationally accredited center, the organization provides high-standard clinical pastoral education, CPE, training for a variety of organizations. By equipping a skilled workforce through rigorous experiential and instructional programs, C of C ensures that compassionate, research-informed spiritual and emotional support is integrated into holistic health practices across the region. For more information, to purchase tickets, or to learn about sponsorship opportunities, please visit crossroadsofcaring.org. Transportation Museum, opening for the season. The New York Museum of Transportation in Rush, featuring the only vintage trolley ride in New York State, will hold its season opening on Sunday, May 31st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. The museum houses a collection of 14 trolley cars, several highway and horse-drawn vehicles, 3 model railroads, the Midtown Plaza monorail, and numerous exhibits celebrating the area's transportation history. In the gallery, a new exhibit presents the Rochester subway through a series of period photographs, and a gift shop caters to visitors of all ages and interests. Trolley rides are included with admission. Visitors experience the interurban era of a century ago as their trolley car winds its way on a 20-minute round trip through scenic countryside. The air whistle and the clickety-clack on the rails bring back a time when trolley cars provided fast, clean service connecting upstate New York cities. The museum is open Sundays only, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and is located just 20 minutes south of Rochester at 6393 East River Road, Rush. Admission is $12 for adults, $10 for seniors 65 plus, and $6 for children ages 3 to 12. For information, visit www.nymtmuseum.org. Email info.newyorkmtm@gmail.com or call 585-533-1113. Parma Hilton Time Capsule. Items sought for inclusion. As our nation approaches the 250th anniversary of its founding, the Parma Hilton Historical Society, PHHS, will commemorate this milestone by creating a community time capsule that will preserve a snapshot of life in 2026 for future generations. 50 years ago, our predecessors came together to mark the bicentennial in 1976 by assembling a time capsule that captured the spirit, values, and everyday life of their era. Today, we have the same opportunity and responsibility to do the same for our descendants. With this effort, PHHS aims to provide those who will gather in 2076 for America's tricentennial a meaningful glimpse into who we were, what we valued, and how we experienced this moment in history. PHHS invites individuals, families, businesses, and organizations to contribute materials that reflect the Parma Hilton community and the broader significance of America 250. Submissions may include photographs, printed materials, written reflections, or other unique items that help tell the story of our time. The completed time capsule will be formally sealed during a public ceremony on August 8, 2026 at the Parma Museum. To have your materials considered for inclusion, please complete the brief time capsule application available at the PHHS Museum, the Parma Public Library, or online at https://www.parmahiltonhistoricalsociety.com/events. Applications are due by July 12th and can be emailed to parmahiltonhistory@gmail.com or dropped off at the museum, historian's office, or library. All applicants will be notified of their selection status by July 26. Creativity on the Canal. A new festival in Brockport on June 13th. The Marker Space, it begins in Brockport, IBIB, is hosting a free community event on Saturday, June 13th, 2026, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Welcome Center, Canal Front, with the mission of celebrating creativity and building community. Activities will include demonstrations, entertainment, and hands-on opportunities for participants to make and take a creation, to collaborate with others, and to purchase handcrafted items. Attendees can build a boat and float their own creation in the canal, see how far it sails, or race another boat. Other activities include upcycling, making your own beaded bracelet, 3D printing, and DIY festival merch at the Makerspace. Participate in a community art project for future installation. Canal Quest, an autonomous boat built by IBIB members, will be on the canal, engaging in citizen science. Come cheer it on as it navigates without a seated captain and learn how it can gather data to expand our knowledge about Erie Canal. The Kiwanis Club will have its annual Strawberry Shortcake sale, and the Lions Club will be on site with hot dogs, soda, and chips. Musical acts include Unaccompanied Minors, Riley Pierce, and more. Similar to Summer Serenades, this is a BYOC event. Bring your own chair or blanket for comfortable viewing. Duck Derby tickets for the popular Duck Derby event held during the Brockport Arts Festival, August 8th and 9th, will be available for purchase, and other community partners will offer interactive tables. Art Gallery 27 will have a new photography exhibit installed by Michelle Ashley Mead. Check out the incredible creativity and artistry in the gallery, and then take a tour of IBIB in the rear of 27 Market Street. Event organizers are grateful to the Village of Brockport for allowing creativity on the canal to take place at the Welcome Center, and to Lift Bridge Bookshop for supporting creativity year-round. The store is currently hosting the IBIB window display for National Inventors Month and will display community art project made at this festival and during future summer events. Explore historic gardens at the George Eastman Museum. The gardens at the historic George Eastman Museum are open for the season, welcoming visitors to experience their beauty in bloom. Guests are invited to enjoy a stroll in one of Rochester's most iconic landscapes, as well as participate in seasonal experiences and programs. Guided tours of the historic landscape, free with museum admission, are offered Saturdays and Sundays at 12:30 p.m. from May through October. New in 2026, ideal for children and families. A story stroll in the library garden features The Thing About Bees, a Love Letter by Shabazz Larkin, presented in collaboration with Monroe County Public Library System. Separate pages of the book are mounted throughout the garden for a read-as-you-walk experience. Visitors are also invited to participate in a hands-on citizen science initiative by contributing to the Great Sunflower Project. Participants have the opportunity to pick up a clipboard with all necessary materials and head to the designated blooms in the garden to observe and count pollinators. The historic landscape can be explored through the lens of the exhibition in the main galleries, Edward Steichen and the Garden, which extends beyond the gallery through interpretive labels that encourage visitors to step outside and experience the same flowers in bloom as are represented in the objects. Finally, guests will be able to enjoy the Rock Gardens Grape Arbor, which is currently undergoing extensive restoration and is anticipated to reopen in July. Public programs. Upcoming public programs include Exhibition Conversation, Edward Steichen and the Garden on June 11th, and the Garden Vibes concert series featuring Khalil Kwame Bell on July 1st, Mosaic Foundation on July 15th, and Wabaza on August 19th, about the historic landscape. In 1902, George Eastman purchased the last 8.5 acres of the Marvin Culver Farm on East Avenue. Assisted by landscape architect Alling Stephen DeForest, 1875 through 1957, Eastman transformed the farmland into a unique metropolitan estate that integrated a working farm with informal gardens and elegant formal gardens. More gardens were added in 1916 when Eastman purchased the adjacent property to the west and commissioned architect Claude Bragdon to create the design. Today, the George Eastman Museum Landscape Collection comprises lawns, trees, ornamental shrubs, vines, and 5 restored or adapted garden areas, planted with perennials, bulbs, annuals, and ground covers, typically grown during Eastman's residency, 1905 through 1932. Historic buildings, structures, and architectural elements such as the loggia, grape arbor, pergola, oval sunken lily pool, and 17th century Venetian wellheads are also part of this collection. For more information about the museum and to plan a trip, visit eastman.org. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Westside News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Plan Forward Public Review Draft released. Monroe County's first comprehensive plan in 40 years. Monroe County Executive Adam Bello recently released the public review draft of Plan Forward, a comprehensive plan for Monroe County, marking the county's first comprehensive plan update in more than 4 decades. Residents, business owners, and community partners are invited to review the draft and provide feedback to help shape the future of the county. Plan Forward establishes a long-term vision for Monroe County with recommendations to guide growth, land use, infrastructure investment, economic development, environmental stewardship, housing, and transportation. The draft reflects an extensive public engagement process that began in August 2021, including more than 50 pop-up meetings, 6 steering committee meetings, and numerous stakeholder and municipal focus groups, receiving hundreds of comments from the public and community partners. Plan Forward is a roadmap for our future, built on the voices of our residents, said County Executive Bello. After 40 years, it is critical that we align our investments in infrastructure, housing, and economic development with a modern, shared vision that serves everyone in Monroe County. I encourage all residents to take part in this final review phase. The public review draft is available for viewing online at monroecounty.gov/Plan Forward. Printed copies are also available for in-person review at the Central Library of Rochester and Monroe County, 115 South Avenue, Rochester, and the Monroe County Department of Planning and Development, City Place, 50 West Main Street, Rochester. Monroe County will host both in-person and virtual meetings for the community to learn more and share feedback directly with the project team. An in-person meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 3rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at MCC Brighton Campus, R. Thomas Flynn Campus Center. A virtual public information meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 10th from noon to 1 p.m. Registration and more details are available at monroecounty.gov/Plan Forward-events. American Sign Language/English interpretation will be available at both the in-person and virtual meetings, and real-time captioning will be provided for the virtual meeting. Language translation and other accessibility accommodations are available upon request. To request accommodations, please contact Ixon Lin at 585-753-2026 or Ixanlin at monroecounty.gov. YIXUANLIN at monroecounty.gov, at least 3 business days in advance. The public comment period is open through June 18, 2026. Feedback can be submitted via email, planforward@monroecounty.gov, phone 585-753-2000, in person, attend a public meeting. For more information, visit monroecounty.gov/planforward. Lions Club of Chile Day of Caring 2026. The Lions Club of Chile took part in the Day of Caring 2026 hosted by the United Way of Rochester and the Finger Lakes. Lions and volunteers spent the day at the Heritage Christian Services House off Westside Drive in Chile, pulling weeds, planting flowers, and mulching the grounds. This marks the Lions Club of Chile's 3rd consecutive year participating in this event to serve the community. To learn more about the Lions Club of Chile, call Membership Chair Mike Donner at 585-704-7265. Arch Morel Book Club at the Spencerport Depot and Canal Museum. The Spencerport Depot and Canal Museum is offering an Arch Morel Book Club this season with meetings at the depot at 6 p.m. on the last Wednesday of each month. The program is open to anyone interested in the local history who likes to swap stories with like-minded people. Arch Morel was an author and journalist who wrote extensively for the local newspapers, primarily about local history. He published more than 1,500 stories in his lifetime, many of which were published in dozens of books he produced. The depot has a large supply of his books and invites interested readers to stop by and pick one up. Read the book, then come to a book club session prepared to share at least one interesting thing you learned from it. The depot is open on Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Wednesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Email director@spencerportmuseum.org for more information. Brockport Best Education Foundation, supporting student success. The Building Excellence in Students Today Best Brockport Education Foundation plays a vital role in supporting students and educators across the Brockport Central School District. Through community generosity, BEST funds innovative classroom projects, student enrichment opportunities, and programs that enhance educational experiences beyond what traditional funding allows. Over the years, the Best Education Foundation has awarded tens of thousands of dollars in grants directly to Brockport schools, helping bring creative ideas to life and ensuring students have access to meaningful learning opportunities. Every donation, large or small, helps strengthen this impact. Ways to donate. Online donations can be made via PayPal and can be completed in just a few moments at https://www.brockportbest.org/donate. Mail-in donations can be sent directly to Brockport Best Education Foundation, P.O. Box 265, Brockport, New York 14420. Why your support matters. Public school funding cannot cover all the tools, materials, and enrichment opportunities that inspire students and empower educators. Donations to the Best Education Foundation bridge the funding to support programs that foster creativity, innovation, and excellence in Brockport classrooms. The Best Education Foundation says that whether you are a parent, alumnus, staff member, or community partner, your generosity can ensure that Brockport students continue to thrive. Together, we can keep building excellence in students today and for years to come. For more information about the Brockport Best Education Foundation and its impact, visit https://www.brockportbest.org. Brockport Lions Club Update. The Brockport Lions Club inducted a new member on Wednesday, May 20th. Pictured at right are Lion Greg Lund, who performed the induction, new member Sandy Kramer, and her sponsor, Lion Sue Seidel. The club also unveiled its new information banner that will be placed on the billboard on the south side of the railroad bridge on Main Street. Pictured below are Lion Jim Kupenberg and Lion Al Hamill. The roundabout below was readied for the Memorial Day holiday thanks to Lions Club members who placed American flags around its perimeter. Anyone interested in serving the community by joining the Brockport Lions Club can reach out to the membership chairman, Lion Greg Lund, at 585-281-8309. AARP seeks nominees for Andrus Award for Community Service. Recognizes those who make a powerful difference in their community. AARP is now accepting nominations for its 2026 New York Andrus Award for Community Service, which honors 50-plus New Yorkers who are sharing their experience, talent, and skills to enrich the lives of their community members. AARP New York is excited to shine a light on 50-plus New Yorkers who are using what they've learned in life to make a difference in the lives around them, said Beth Finkel, State Director of AARP New York. We encourage New Yorkers to nominate volunteers whose dedication and service are strengthening communities across our state. Nominations will be evaluated by AARP New York staff based on how the volunteers' work has improved the community, reflected AARP's vision and mission, and inspired other volunteers. The award recipient will be announced in early fall. Visit www.aarp.org/Andrus Award for complete eligibility requirements and the nomination form. The application deadline is August 31st. For more information, contact Kemba Tamar, AARP New York Associate State Director for Volunteer Engagement and Resources, by email at nyaarp@aarp.org. Master Gardener Expo and Plant Sale. The Monroe County Master Gardener Program is holding its annual plant sale on Saturday, June 6th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at CCE Monroe, 2449 St. Paul Boulevard, Rochester. In addition to offering an assortment of annuals, perennials, herbs, vegetables, trees, shrubs, and houseplants, this year's event will include gently used garden treasures. Various gardening organizations will be on hand to answer questions and offer inspiration. This is an outdoor event held rain or shine. All sale proceeds go directly toward CCE Monroe programming. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Westside News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Rosalind Lipomi's Blurred Edges Art Show. this June at the Parma Public Library. Artist Rosalind Raz Lipomi, retired adult services librarian from the Parma Public Library, will showcase her work in blurred edges, hard and soft art on display at the library during the month of June. Rosalind says, "It was one of my greatest joys to have worked in the role as adult services librarian at the Parma Public Library. It allowed me to bring to the community a mix of new programs that encompass creative writing, book discussions, art history, crafts, and painting. To me, this was the perfect mix and well worth having gone back to school as an older working student to the University at Buffalo to add a Master of Library Science to my Master of Fine Arts degree from RIT." She adds, "I am a firm believer that art introduces us to new ways of seeing and appreciating the beauty of our surroundings. Further, it educates and entertains us and always adds value to our lives." For this show, Lipomi experimented with how her paint responded on a porous concrete surface rather than on a more traditional substrate such as paper, wood, or canvas. She also included some of her fiber art pieces to further illustrate the show's title. Drop by the Parma Public Library, 7 West Avenue, Hilton, during the month of June to see Rosalind's work. She says, "I hope you enjoy this show." Shoreline Resiliency Project completed at Hamlin Beach State Park. Complements ongoing efforts to protect habitat at Yancey Marsh area. On May 21st, the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, OPRHP, announced the completion of a $6.7 million shoreline resiliency project at Area 1 of Hamlin Beach State Park. Reshaping and restoring much of the park's historic lakefront promenade, the completed project repairs damage caused by flooding, coastal erosion, and wave action from a severe storm event in 2017, and fortifies the park against future storm damage by introducing new landscape features. As strong storms present an ever-increasing risk to New York's public lands, it is crucial that we build back better to protect our state parks and coastal communities from the dangers created by floodwaters and shoreline erosion, said ORPHP Acting Commissioner Kathy Moser. Thanks to historic Environmental Protection Fund investments made by Governor Hochul, our state legislators, and the National Park Service, we have been able to ensure that Hamlin Beach State Park is enjoyed by future generations. The project utilized $6.7 million in total funding from various sources, including $2.5 million from New York's Environmental Protection Fund, EPF, and a matching contribution from the National Park Service's Land and Water Conservation Fund. A vital source of funding for capital projects that protect the environment and enhance communities, the EPF supports stewardship efforts for millions of acres of public lands across New York. A record $425 million has been allocated to the EPF in the 2027 New York State Executive Budget, allowing for additional investments to be made in open space conservation. The new landscape features added to Hamlin Beach State Park's historic promenade help stabilize the park's shoreline, reduce coastal erosion, manage floodwaters, and dissipate energy from waves. In addition to strengthening the coastline, these improvements enhance the visitor experience, making it easier and safer for park patrons to enjoy Lake Ontario vistas and the park's recreational options. The new elements include rounded cobbles that direct floodwaters to targeted areas, native species plantings that reintroduce habitat and stabilize loose shoreline soil, supplemental rip-rap in areas with heavy wave action, additional boulders that protect the park's iconic fishing jetty, and the conversion of 10 acres of upland lawns to grassy meadows, which allows for greater stormwater and floodwater absorption. Recreation trails, parking spaces, and other amenities were also modified to improve resiliency and combat erosion, including relocating existing multi-use trails outside of areas prone to flooding, reducing parking spaces to improve ground permeability, delineating new overlook landing areas to allow for improved lakefront viewing, setting aside additional green space for future recreation enhancements, including picnic and play areas. U.S. Congressperson Joe Morrell said, "Everyone deserves access to safe, resilient public spaces where families can connect with nature and enjoy all that our region has to offer. This investment at Hamlin Beach State Park will help protect our Lake Ontario shoreline, preserve critical habitats, and ensure visitors can continue to enjoy this treasured resource for years to come. I'm grateful to Governor Hochul for her continued partnership in strengthening our communities and safeguarding our natural environment for future generations. This project complements a separate restoration project taking place at the Yantee Marsh section of the Hamlin Beach State Park. The ongoing work on the eastern side of the park restores habitat for sensitive native bird populations, restores wetland habitat, and prepares the park for future rises in lake water levels. Restoration and resiliency enhancements at the Yantee Marsh section are expected to be complete this fall. Brockport family expands mission to honor the fallen. Sets up white tables at area restaurants for Memorial Day. Last November, Westside News shared the story of Brockport 5-year-old Brax Fisher, who set up white tables at 5 area restaurants for Veterans Day. The tables, also known as Missing Man tables or Fallen Comrade tables, provide an opportunity for restaurant patrons to reflect on and commemorate those who have fallen, are missing in action, or are prisoners of war. Because of the overwhelmingly positive response, the family's mission grew beyond what they ever imagined this Memorial Day. What started with just 5 participating restaurants last year expanded to 21 restaurants across the Rochester area this year, including Redbird Cafe, Custom House, 58 Main, Ridge Runners, The Mill House, The Farmer's Table, Texas Barbecue Joint, The Dakota, The Original Charbroil, Blue Ridge Grill, Red Fidel's Brook House, Kim's Woodshed, Vine and Tap, Dan's Horseshoe, Mr. Dominic's at the Lake, Shamrock Jack's, California Brewhouse, Prioretti's, the Mary Wee Pub, the Cobblestone on Main, and Flaherty's. Seeing our community come together to help honor our fallen service members and preserve the meaning of Memorial Day for the next generation has been incredibly moving, said Mom Sarah Fisher. She noted that one of the biggest additions this year was a homeschool and family education component. Alongside the white table displays, I created lesson kits for participating families focused on the meaning behind Memorial Day, the symbolism of POW/MIA table, and the importance of remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice. It has been so special being able to watch children not only help set up the tables, but also truly understand the meaning behind them. There have been several touching moments throughout the journey, both for the Fisher family and the restaurant staff and patrons, Sarah says. I received a sweet message from one of the restaurant owners in response to white tables saying, "Just had a vet come up to me. She cried and was so happy with the table. She said it was beautiful." Sarah hopes to continue growing awareness, encouraging meaningful conversations, and helping younger generations connect with the true meaning of our military holidays. Next year, their goal is to further expand their footprint in Rochester. To that end, the family will soon be launching a website. Local establishments interested in participating are invited to email ssegal11 at yahoo.com. ssegal11 at yahoo.com. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the May 29, 2026 issue of the Westside News. Your reader has been Monica Kemper. Thank you for listening.